This is Pat Iyer and Laura Conklin. We have been talking about Laura's two books. Laura has been a nurse for over 50 years and worked with me to create two books. Laura, tell our listener or our viewer on our YouTube channel, what are some of the key points that we covered in this podcast?
Well, one of the interesting points was I had mentioned to Pat that I wanted to write my memoirs. I've been a nurse for 50 years. I worked every field of nursing, and I wanted to share those stories. Basically, Pat said, who cares? Okay, so I'd rethink that. All right, in those 50 years of nursing, in all those areas I worked, what did I learn? What do I want to pass on as an opportunity to learn for somebody else? What can they accomplish walking through my steps? And it was a look at, oh my gosh, how nursing has changed over the years, over 50 years, lots of changes in nursing. So we talked about that. So when we came to shocking stories of nursing, memoirs of a 50-year nursing career, that book sort of focused on my life as a nurse, what I did, what I accomplished, what I wanted to accomplish, and from why I wanted to be a nurse till when I finally retired, which is a hyphenated word. I'm still working on it. So that was book one.
And just to clarify, when I'm thinking it sounds rather callous when I said, who cares? The point of that was, what are the things that you learned in your life that would help other people, influence their decision to go into nursing, give them a perspective of what that type of nursing is like for a nurse who's a staff nurse or a manager. Sometimes when people consider writing memoirs, they don't look at the broader aspects of their story. So that's what my who cares.
Yes, I know. I did kind of mention it, what did you learn? What did you pass on? How creative could you get in any of those positions? And what made a difference you being there? And that's, I think, one of the focuses of my memoirs is who cares? Why I was there? What did I do? What did I accomplish? And how did that impact in a positive way nursing as it was at that time?
And then we also talked in your podcast a little bit about your second book, which was very different than your first book in its focus. Can you tell our viewer some of the key points that he or she will get from watching this podcast and finding out about your second book?
Okay, the second book was totally different because it wasn't all about me. Over the years, I had reviewed many allegations against nurses for the state of Michigan Board of Nursing, looking at scope of practice, things of that nature. Michigan does not have a Nurse Practice Act. Everything falls off of the Public Health Code, which can be pretty broadly interpreted. Well, as I reviewed these cases, I looked at, well, what else could this nurse have done? I kept those reports. So I thought, this would be a good second book. More shocking stories of nursing. What were they thinking? Why did this particular nurse do what she did, or he did what he did? Did it make sense? At the time, it may have. Was it a lack of knowledge, or was it on purpose? Nobody sets off working saying that, oh, I'm going to harm somebody today. So it was an interesting collection of stories that I think would be a heads up, either for new nurses or somebody interested in going into the profession, or for older nurses that can say, damn, I almost did that. Or, oh, wow, I didn't know I can't do that. And kind of a heads up when you deviate from what you've learned, the basics, it will come back to bite you.
And having been intimately involved in editing both of these books, I want to underscore that your second book is of interest to anyone who is a patient or could be a patient or is the child of a parent who is a patient, or in essence, anyone who has an interest in healthcare and a concern about wanting to spot some of the things that could go wrong in their own care.
Yes, when you keep silent about a situation that you're not comfortable with, that promotes it. And that's can be a very dangerous thing. So if you're not sure, it's best to ask. Ask somebody that, you can trust their opinion on. Does this sound right? Or they gave my mom these meds like an hour apart. Is that how it's supposed to go? Because errors can be prevented. A lot of them can be prevented. And that's only going to be better for the profession.
Well, thank you, Laura. Be sure to watch Laura's podcast coming up next on this channel, and to leave a comment or a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts about this show. We value your opinion and hope that you are getting some valuable tips from the show, as well as I know you'll get valuable tips from listening to Laura Conklin. Thank you.
Thank you.